we will spend a bit of time talking about the new scheduler. Um, did people get a chance have a look at that yet? I just did a couple of little videos around signing up clients onto it.
Not yet. Sorry.
So I'll step through the process, but I have made a couple of little videos. Right, the first one is how to sign them up. Dead easy, right? Basically, you'll just use the same password that we used to use for Hootsuite, and if they have a Hootsuite, which most of other than Adrian, maybe one of yours or two of yours, potentially Anthony, but everybody else, it's going to be the same. You're just going to basically use the Hootsuite password. You'll also use for then Publer now, and then the little other video just shows how easy it is to bring on. And I think, Ben, you've said you've already done that for Diffy Social Wanneroo, right? So
I did.
Yep.
So I have. The only thing, obviously, to keep in mind with the fact that Publer allows 5 different social medias is the fact that, yes, it does allow us to use Twitter, but we should probably still use if this, then and that, because Twitter has got a word count or whatever thing.
Although I did have a play with that, and you can separate the posts. So technically, and Adrian and I spoke about this morning as well. So you're right, I agree. Let's just keep. I mean, it makes sense just to have the if this then that for Instagram to Twitter. But we also know, and I saw a few of you had sort of had that sort of chat. We do at times have the problem with the if this then that in terms of making sure that Instagram goes through. So the good thing with this, which as I said is similar to other schedulers where. And we would have been able to do it in Hootsuite if we'd been bringing Twitter in, but you basically can do it, but then you just have to edit the post so that it fits the Twitter count. That's all. So it is possible, yeah.
So with Steve, with the new clients, are we going to continue setting up the if, then, and that, or not? Now,
I think we will. Just because, as Ben says, it affords us the luxury of then determining whether. Whether to bring Twitter in or not, and whether to use it. So, yeah.
A lot of our posts that we do for clients go over the Twitter word count.
Yeah,
so
we would
either have to split the post for Twitter or reword the post for Twitter, rather than with if this and that.
Correct.
If this and that, it automatically does it for us, and it also the photo is putting photos on Twitter is also a pain in the ass. But if this then and that also allows us to have the photo posted straight away as well.
Yeah. Well, I always also wonder if part of the reason why we sometimes have problems with the if this then that Instagram to Twitter is because we are exceeding the word count. So
but it just adjusts it. It just takes you
it generally for the ones that go through, it just takes off, right? So, and it might be halfway through a word. It's not ideal, but at the same time, at least it's doing the job. Anyway, that's getting into the technicalities, but the reality is and hopefully in terms of advising client, because they won't necessarily know how, we're basically, it became our problem, which is, if that makes sense, right? Essentially we're using a free platform where the client just wants us to do the job. So the fortunate thing is that Ben identified Publer as another option. It looks like a really good option, and I'll talk about. As I said, I've got that in today's thing. So really pleased that we have that option, because I think otherwise the options were going to be a bit limited. I have updated our all-in spreadsheet this week. Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for sharing the holiday and week off updates. The main thing just in here is, and which is also reflected on the PowerPoint, but there's just been a couple of tweaks to one-to-one time. So Ben and I are going to meet now on Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Ben time, 4 p.m. Steve time. And Emily's going to stay at 2 p.m. on Wednesday, but that then becomes 2 p.m. my time on Wednesday as well. I haven't sort of put in any special guests at this stage. I think we'll just sort of see how we progress with that. If we've got opportunities for special guests, then we'll I'll let you know, but it may be just the week or two beforehand sort of thing. But yeah, hopefully this is relatively up to date. The other thing is that so with my BNI, I did hand my resignation in for BNI Thrive, and so the intent is to now sort of look at a better alternative. So there's a couple that I've inquired about and looking at attending this week already. There's my local, which is Yarraville, which is kind of my neighbour in Footscray. That's a 3 p.m. It's a Wednesday afternoon, 4 p.m. actually. Wednesday afternoon, that is. Wednesday afternoon. And then Geelong, which is for those of you that don't have the bearings, but is kind of outer west, very outer west. But in Melbourne, it's classed as BNI Melbourne West and Geelong. But there is a Geelong chapter that's very much doing Zoom focus, where they only meet in person once a month, and very much like the Zoom way of doing the meeting. So that may be a good alternative, at least to visit in the first place. And yeah, anyway, so that's where I'm at around BNI, just so you know. Rightio. Because we have got other things, I might just skip through this a little bit if that's okay. And because I'm a week back, I'll just do it. So we acknowledge that we're on the traditional lands of the Kulin Nation. We offer our respects to the owners of the traditional lands and through them to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples, past and present. Just today, around presentation, I will just want to talk through the process and the steps that we'll take for Publer this week. So clearly we don't have a guest, but we will talk about that. Yeah, so I think everything else pretty much stays the same. But as I said, we'll go through this because it is going to be particularly for Adrian and Anthony and myself, probably a slightly more challenging week, just because we want to make sure that we've got all existing clients on a scheduler that we can use for the balance of the week, sort of thing. So our mission: protect, build, and grow brands. Overriding is to have fun and do good to attract and retain more customers. What I have put in here for you guys, and what I was finding leading up to, clearly we're always going to talk about this, but you guys know that I've always done this as part of my slide deck, right? The presentation for us is kind of, in a way, I would say it's what we do, right? So I think up until this year and maybe late last year, very much the focus on what do we do, right? In terms of, yes, there is why. In terms of, my argument in the past is that our why is to attract and retain you more customer. But I think without talking about ROI, the why doesn't come through, right? So hence, I've added these slides, who's got a presentation? Anybody got a presentation coming up?
Yep.
When's your next one, Ben?
Next week.
It's next week. So we just want to make sure that your presentation has the ROI stuff in it, yeah? Because you really want to, we really all want to be singing off the same song sheet around. Yes, we do it for ourselves. This is what it looks like for Dify Social. It doesn't matter whether you're B2B or B2C. And this is what it looks like for some of our clients. We're largely showing you Facebook and Instagram results, although there would be nothing to stop you, all of us, but if Ben's got the next one, but just to show, for instance, somebody like Denise's or Wayne's, look, this is how their impressions go with LinkedIn. This is how many people are searching for Wayne on Google, for instance, right? So that we start to get people understanding that that's what return on investment looks like from a pure Dify Social content marketing communications management strategy, right? That's a mouthful. But essentially, but that's why I put it in there. So it's just people understanding ROI from our perspective, and so that we continue to really educate what ROI looks like. Yeah. I don't want to focus on here other than to say is that, and I'll talk about it at the back end rather than now, but when we're really all testing this, right? And I think we're all doing the numbers we need to do, right? But at the moment, we're not getting the return back, I would say, almost, maybe other than Ben and Adrian. It's early days for Anthony, but in Brisbane, we kind of really got to test these numbers, right? If we're doing the one-to-ones, we're attending, we're doing our training, we're going to there, we need to really be making sure that, or trying to work out together why we might not be getting some of the sort of referrals that we want to get. Yeah.
Right.
So I just want to make sure that we continue to look at that. So, but we'll talk about that at the end, I think. So the new Publer, again, we've already given clap. Thank you, Ben, for alerting to this one. This was good, and I'm not sure I would have easily found it otherwise. So essentially, after being alerted to it, so we've created those 2 videos. Anthony, you can already do your Go Promote scheduling on it.
Yeah, I saw that. Yep.
So I've already put it across there, and that's the videos that I've created as well. So I signed up Go Promote, and I signed up, and I added the accounts to it. I did in the end was able to add the LinkedIn, just if anybody's watched that. Initially, when I was looking to add the LinkedIn, I had too many previous ones, and so I had to delete quite a few of them to get to this, just so that it only showed 50, right? Anyway, and then yesterday I was trying to work out, well, from a Publer perspective, there's these 2 people. I've put these up. So their names are Vanessa Bodinaku and Cindy Prepage. And if on LinkedIn, they are the only 2. So I found the company on LinkedIn.
Sure.
And then I've connected with both of them, and that they've both sent me a message back saying, oh, do you want to schedule a Calendly time just to run through the profile? So I've then connected back saying, hey, thanks for that. Thanks for connecting. You may also have others of the team that will seek you out. I'll make this large for you if you're wanting to get their name, or I'll just... So it's Vanessa Bodinaku. But anyway, if you go to Publer on LinkedIn, and then click people, you'll see Vanessa and Cindy. The company's in Albania. Anybody been to Albania?
No.
Anybody know where it is?
Yeah.
Europe,
Yeah, more specific.
Eastern
Eastern
Europe.
Europe.
To be fair, I had to Google it, and I have been through Europe.
No, it's Eastern Europe, isn't
Sort
it?
of above Greece, right? So as well. So probably anyway. So Albania probably is classed as Eastern Europe, but it's probably on the boundary, I imagine, right? So anyway, we can always Google it, but it is sitting in Albania, right? Rather than, so clearly it's relatively new. Although again, when you sort of do the desktop Google of it, it seems like it's been around for a couple of years, because the YouTube sort of referral for it is a guy that has a t-shirts company in UK. And so the likelihood it's probably being used as a more of a UK Europe type scheduler, I imagine, right? So anyway, I'd suggest that we all that you all also connect with these people. So the good thing with that is, right, it's not as easy to get connections with strategic partnership managers on Hootsuite as what it is here, right? Albeit that I've done that, but to have a conversation with them is a lot, this I think is good for us, right? So everybody happy with that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe go through that process. So so then you probably again haven't had the chance to look at, so I might just drag it across, right? Just and whilst this isn't visible, I'll just talk it through the steps taken to date, right, around so the first thing was, this is more for us, right, is changes to Hootsuite free plan, going through the process of what are the alternatives, understanding that the Hootsuite free plan limits us to 2 accounts only and 5 posts. So in other words, the only way I could see that would work from this week would be that if you scheduled your excess post, you'd have to go in on Wednesday and add in LinkedIn, for instance, right? So you could, so it would have to release Monday's post before you could then add more posts. Does that make sense? Because you can only have 5 scheduled posts at any one time. Yeah.
So you'd have to just go in again and
so you'd
schedule
have
the
to go in
rest.
again on a Wednesday and redo it, right? So or just add the second half of the week, right? So it's not as sustainable. We just can't do it. It's just not, it's not sustainable even from an extra small because of the time that it would take each week to do that. And also just it's the annoyance of it, right? Mm-hmm. So the alternative sort of considered, which will again, I've put this to Go Promote. I've already sort of done a draft to them of what we've done, right? But that similar draft will go to our clients, just saying, look, this is what we considered, this is what we're recommending and doing. But I would say that none of our clients would want to. It's not an easy ask to tell them to go to a paid plan of Hootsuite, for instance. Yeah. And so really, Publer, as I said, as far as the recommended go, seems to be the best. I got no response. Well, the response I got from Hootsuite helpers around our clients currently using the free platform was shit happens realistically. So that's where we're at. So this is kind of the post to the others is along the lines of we're taking steps to move you to Publer. And realistically, these couple of videos, as I said, that's the adding the client, which you simply use the email and the password. And then what we'll do, so Adrian and I have gone in this morning with Adrian's, and I might need to do this with you, Anthony, potentially after this meeting, because you're the other one with a bit of a list, right? Is just to quickly go through and just confirm what email and password we're going to use. I think the others are pretty clear. I can easily put in there because what I'd be saying is that Emily's going to use this email and password to now set you up on Publer. You'll receive a verification email. Please forward that email to Emily ASAP. Yeah. Right? And so that's what the Basecamp email message will go to them like. And also, so similarly for you, Ben, for you, Hannah. So for all of you, it will say, this is what we're using. This is the email. You just need to forward it. Once you've got that forward confirmation, that's it. Realistically, the way I can tell, I don't know if you think there might be anything bit different, Ben, but I think at this stage you'll just be signing in and out of the different Publer platforms.
And we're using their email address.
Yeah.
So you're going to, it'll all be using in the same way as we used to do with Hootsuite. So you're going to use exactly the same. I think for yours, Hannah, Emily, and Ben, they're all using Hootsuite at the moment. So it's just purely swapping the publisher and using exactly the same details. Yeah. We've got a couple of ones for Adrian and for Anthony, which are legacy that we're using Dify Socials. So they'll come out of Dify Socials and they'll just use Publer. And we've got a few others that, for whatever reason, anyway,
it'll just be, sorry, Steve, Publer going forward. It's not Hootsuite and it's just Publer.
You won't be using Hootsuite. So I would almost suggest even similarly, like Ben's done, and certainly for any, so even for, for Brisbane, you would use that as your scheduler for Brisbane as well, so that you actually have one. Clearly, for anybody coming on in future, that'll be their practice one because there's no need to practice on Hootsuite because we don't use it anymore effectively for our clients, right?
Yeah.
The good thing for us is we know what it can do. So if we do have that sort of higher end client or maybe franchise type clients that use it, well, we've used it. We know how to use it. But yeah, I think Publer for our extra small clients will be our go-to from here on in, right? So the only question I guess that Adrian had, so my intent is put that email out by close of business today to all clients, is to basically say we're switching your publishing platform this week, right? With then basically I would think by close of business tomorrow, you would have then said you would have signed into Publer for them. And that email would have been sent. In other words, you'll then be able to follow up and say, Denise, did you receive the confirmation email yet? Right? But realistically, they'll be expecting it. Right? Okay. That's the hope, is that particularly for Emily, Hannah, and Ben, it should be pretty straightforward around once they get it, they should forward it to you. If they don't forward it to you, then you might just have to give them a call. Hey, did you see the email I sent you? I've just sent it through now. Adrian and I were talking about it. We've got a few clients that aren't often, maybe don't check the email or don't read emails. In that case, we might just quickly ring them and say, "Hey, I've just signed you into the new Publer platform. Can you forward me that email as soon as you get it?" That's all. Yeah. And so that then should mean if they're all in by Tuesday/Wednesday, then by Thursday, you should be able to, all small business ones should be able to be scheduled for Thursday and Friday, and for all extra small businesses should be able to have their Friday post scheduled on Friday. Now, if you've already been able to schedule, then clearly you just schedule next week, or at least have a test, whatever you want to do. But the main thing this week is just to be able to do the posts, right? Yeah.
Yep. Ben, if we, let's say, because if we overpost on Hootsuite, it'll come up. Is that correct? Or it just won't go out?
Yeah, no, it tells you.
Okay. Yeah. So
on Hootsuite, if you schedule too many posts.
Yeah. It'll
be like you've scheduled way too many posts.
Yeah. Okay.
If you don't have to use Publer. So my posts this week are going out via Facebook Creator Suite, which was absolutely pig's ass to use. I've used it in the past and it's horrible to use.
It's rough, yeah.
Yeah, it's not a fun platform to use. They need to fix that. But for this week, I've used Facebook Creator Suite, and then I've used LinkedIn to put out the other ones.
Okay.
That should be fine if you haven't done anything. But probably jump onto Publer as soon as you can
today. Yeah,
because I feel like I'm not going to get back. I'm not going to hear back from some clients.
Yeah. We just have to, as I said, you and I, Anthony, will go through, but it would say to Adrian, we kind of know who those clients will be, right? Yeah. So it's not. We probably can't even. Text is one thing. So we could text, but realistically, let's face it, most people, if you call them, leave a voice message. If you can't get through to them when you're calling them, and probably text them. Hey, you'll just find an email come through by Publer. Can you forward that email to me as soon as possible? That's all.
Yeah.
So it's the other thing is I think what we want to be is, and whilst any change is always tough, the benefit of this change is pretty huge, right?
Yeah,
this is a massive fill-up, I reckon, for us, right? Because realistically, whilst we can always hope that Hootsuite has a legacy and just maintains the legacy as it always is, which is what I was hoping it would do, it doesn't help for new clients, and we're all about getting into new clients, right? So basically, we're just getting our existing clients onto the platform, which we think is much better. It's clearly at a much more affordable price, or it's better, and it's still at a free price, and so it's not costing them anything. So we've not only solved a problem for us, we've given them what will be a far greater service, I think. So it's pretty exciting, right? So
the other thing I wanted to have a look, maybe consider as well, is the $10 a month, which is probably going to be around 15 to 20, considering conversions and everything like that. That might give us access to the analytics on Publer, which I want to see what the analytics are like to see if they're worth it. If it's actually better than what we currently get off of our social platforms, it might give us better insights into how we can do on how the actual platforms, how the social media is actually performing.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good. Oh, sorry, Adrian. Did you say?
No, I was just going to ask something. Does Publer have the option like Hootsuite where you can add the royalty-free photos directly in there?
It doesn't. No, you have to drag and drop. You have to. I put that in the video. Yeah,
and find.
It doesn't on the. It doesn't on the free platform. Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
There is. It does.
On the free platform?
One sec.
I think you need to. I thought you need to add them in. You'd need to add them in, basically. So
one sec. I'm just going to quickly check something.
So if you, just to Ben's point though, in terms of all the plans and pricing are on the website, right? Yeah. Just so you know, and I've put that up when we're So essentially, they have the free platform. We just need to get them across in the first place. I think, to Ben's point, the next conversation becomes, look, if you move to the $10 a month, then realistically, there is some, the other thing I quite liked was the idea of watermarking photos. I like watermarking. I dislike hard images on, you know what I mean? So if it wasn't a watermark, I don't like it. But a watermark image, if it would automatically go out, I quite like that idea, right? And I think that's to me is a really good thing.
And it's got Canva as well, actually.
Yeah, you can integrate
Canva.
Canva
Really
into
good.
it. Yeah. And
well,
then
you can use images. I'm gonna that you can on from and it's directly linked to Unsplash.
It's Unsplash, is it? So yeah. So to me, because before I was using any media with Hootsuite, I was always just using Unsplash anyway. So Unsplash or the other one's Pixels, right? So we could always use either of them.
Okay.
You just save them into the Dropbox and then use them from the Dropbox. It's actually it seems, I think, is you actually can use it from the online Dropbox. So you can actually, it seems like, I was still dropping and dragging because I go with what is, you tend to do what you've done in the past. So dropping and dragging or just selecting out of your Dropbox on your hard drive. But it looks like you can also add in photos from links, like your Dropbox, for instance, right? So as I said, the plans clearly the zero cost free plan is significant, right? 50 pending posts, right? 5 social accounts. So straight away, it's almost 10 times what we can do, and it's more than double the social accounts, right? So straight away, it's a no-brainer, right? Then, as Ben was just mentioning and others were asking, even the upgrades are certainly going to be worth considering. But I think that's probably something that we go to people when we're doing the report, is we could basically say, hey, would you be interested in going to a higher level? Because if you do, you might find that there's certain advantages in doing it, right? So anyway.
Yeah, I was going to ask, would that $10 a month would just be an added cost for the client?
The client would do it like they would because it's associated with their email and their business. It's basically, it'd be like Facebook. It would just be paid by them to the actual published ones themselves, right? At this stage, well, I mean, again, I don't see, it's not really in our model to white label stuff like this. But the potential could be is that we could say, well, okay, if we look at our pricing and, if we're going to put everybody onto a $10 publisher plan, for instance, do we just build that into our pricing? That's the other thing.
I reckon build it straight into the price.
That's what I thought.
I think rather than charge it to the client, just charge it even if so let's say the $10 plan is in US dollars, that's $13, that's 13 Australian dollars. Just charge an extra 15. Yeah.
And I think that's probably where the conversations with these people is probably, because realistically, if we were doing that, the likelihood is that we wouldn't be getting charged 10. Yeah. Because just understanding, and I have seen people doing it, realistically, if we're a representative of Publer, then realistically, it may be worth our while to actually give them the $20 platform, for instance, but it may well only be charged at $5, at our end. So, and that's possibly what they'd prefer us do, right? Is they'd probably prefer us having them on the highest arrangement. So it's probably working out who, and I think, a good starting point is the Vanessas and Cindy, whether or not, I'm assuming we're exactly the sort of businesses they'd like to be talking to, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, whereas Hootsuite's not really interested in talking to us, because essentially once they get into enterprise, you start to talk $1,000 a month, right? So it's not doable for us. Cool. All right. Well, as I said, the more I talk about Publer, ever since Friday, Ben, the more excited I get about it, because I think it's good for.
Good job, Ben.
It's bottom up, right? It's good for client. it's probably not bottom up. It actually probably is top down. It's good for us. It's good for us as marketers. It's good for our clients, right? Because we give them an option this is a pretty good publisher for you. We think this is the best publisher that's free on the market from what we can see, right? So it's pretty exciting. Which isn't what I was feeling on Thursday. It's fair to say.
By the way, you looked utterly horrible on Friday, Steve. When I called you, you looked tired, exhausted, like all up, just not good. I was like, oh Christ.
People did all. We were all very kind, but it was, as I said, there was a lot of learnings from last week, and yeah, so it was nice to go away for a week. But the next time I go away will be much different to last week. It wasn't. I'm hoping.
It won't be on what's it called that week?
Well, report week is one thing. Yeah, so report week was probably one of the things. Well, we did have one or two clients as well. You know, so that was sort of making it slightly more onerous as well. Yeah. And I'd also had Jeff from Reach Local sort of contact me probably a few times, right, because of one of the clients, right? But I just touch on this one. So we will leave this one up just so if Publer hadn't gone down, I was probably going to be talking about, Hootsuite, then I'd probably talk a little bit more about this. We're going to have, in terms of introducing certain clients to Reach Local, there's probably less than a handful at the moment that would be worth an early introduction, but it's still a handful, right? So to actually have an early introduction in terms of what I might do. So I'll talk to you about that in our one-to-ones this week, right? But this is a relationship that, again, becomes much more sustainable for our organization, right? Is because Dify Social can run a certain level of ads to give you a certain level of ROI, but if you're wanting your ads to be transactional and you're going to write us, we don't really get paid to do that, right? So probably... I'm not sure that Hannah actually has. I think, Hannah, Triple Centers is a good example back in the day when that was a very, Shopify almost like platform, transactional type one, right? So his expectations around $5 a day were completely different to Awards Australia. Right? Just completely different. So Awards Australia for $5 to $10 can get exactly what they're after as far as their Facebook ads, right? But certain clients just can't, right? And so that's where Reach Local will come in as a real partner for us, right? To be able to go, okay, for those clients, we can go, here you are, realistically, have a chat to these guys because they could be looking at your landing pages. They could be doing multiple ads, testing them and working out what's going to work better, right? And spending the time on it the way that they do. So anyway, that's probably a discussion over the next couple of weeks, but certainly by the end of the month, we want to make sure that we sort of really all comfortable and aware of what the relationship looks like and what sort of client that it's sort of going to suit. And not just client, but prospect as well. Because I think it would be fair to say that there's probably certain prospects that at times we meet with that maybe would need not just our services, but the services of Reach Local if that's the way we go. Do you feel like you've had any clients that or prospects that you've spoken to that maybe that's what they were more after?
I reckon Denise is probably going to want something like that.
Down that line. I have a feeling that too, Ben. Yeah, because I think
Denise is going to want something like that because I feel like a client like Wayne and a lot of the other ones which I'm going to be onboarding, I feel like professional clients in the professional services will go for something like this, and our tradies, our mum businesses, our triple-centered ones will be happy with our service. But the professional businesses, the ones, the accountants, the lawyers, the mortgage brokers, the bookkeepers, and professional industries will want something like this because they're a bit more business-minded. Would that be fair to say?
I think the tradie ones, when it's micro, that's true. I think when they're bigger trades, and they've got dozens or multiple employees or franchisees or licensees, they're often the ones that are paying sort of a couple of grand a month to this type of business, right? And they often get burnt. So because what they'll do is they'll pay money to the agency and they won't actually do anything that we do. So they won't do any content management on the social media sites. They'll just pay for ads, right? And so they're just paying for ads, and it starts to look very salesy, correct? Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's why I was saying to you guys, I think the spin-off benefit for us is for those sort of ones is that then Jeff and Reach Local or wherever it is locally can go, hey, our focus is really on maximizing the return on your ad spend. We don't do the content management in the way that Dify Social do. You'd need to speak to Ben or Emily, Hannah, Anthony, Adrian, Steve, right? That's the idea, is that, and certain times it may well be that, hey, we can't get a return on this business because they're not going to spend this amount, right? Because remembering that he's only really wanting to work with businesses spending $500 and more each month on ads.
Okay.
So remembering that would probably take out 80% of BNI clients. Do you think?
That would be like maybe Roy.
Oh, Lim Live definitely should
Live,
be.
yeah.
Lim Live definitely should be. We will tell people like I think amongst marketing, it's important to tell them because that's where they get confused. I'm not sure it's delivering because no one signed up to my form or whatever the case might be. You know what I mean? So I think we'll let everybody know, but we'll also say we don't know that this is for everybody, right? So that's the thing. Anyway, more than enough time spent on that. So basically, next 2 weeks, we'll sort of move towards what we're going to do in this space. We'll probably get Jeff along again just to sort of, he's already spoke to us, right? Except maybe one or two missed. But realistically, probably just so that we're aware, and maybe we put it also onto him is, look, this is the sort of client that I'm looking to do content management for, Jeff. Can you help us get to these clients? You know what I mean? So that's the sort of relationship I'd hope we'll finish up having. Yeah. Adrian, did I cut over you on anything there? No.
No. Just add Marco and Giancarlo would be a client that would do.
That's right. Yeah.
They've already sort of asked me about that with the ads and stuff.
Yeah, and they're an interesting one because they are that sort of one where we haven't even had the opportunity for them to see what tens of thousands looking at them looks like. Before then, they're probably already asking where's the money. You know what I mean? Where's the sale? So so it is without again, it's without thinking of it as a handball. It's about sort of bringing things together. But there is an element of Facebook ad handballing where they become slightly more problematic in terms of what their expectations are. Right?
Also, if you remember, they said they were passing on a referral.
Yeah.
That guy gave me a call on Friday, and the whole conversation with him was based around lead generation. That's what he wants. That's what he needs.
Yeah.
So.
Sure. Okay. All right. No worries. Anyway, good. Oh, big huong. I'll put this on here just for you. So what I was hang on a minute. Okay. So what I want us to look at is as I said, realistically, oh gosh, I shouldn't be clicking on things. My second screen is playing tricks on me. This quarter, so we're into this April, May, June quarter. We need the rubber to start hitting the road, right? So realistically, it's fair to say, from a wife, accountant, bookkeeper's perspective, we need to sort of start making sure that we're putting all that we have in terms of training and our BNI to really be trying to just do a lot of the stuff you've been doing, right? But stick to the numbers, stick to the meetings, and stick to the processes that we're doing to bring on clients, right? So because most of the stuff that we're the way that we factor in is probably born around a minimum of one client for each of us each month, right? Without sort of, that's the bottom line, is we really need to be probably bringing on sort of 6 clients a month minimum in order that we can afford what we're doing, right? So that it's sustainable on the long term. So what I've been speaking to a number of you. So I'm well aware, so Adrian, that's been good. We know that Adrian was our Dify Social Marketer of the Month, had a great month last month, and that's awesome, Adrian. I'm also well aware that Ben seems to have a fairly strong, for want of a better word, funnel, right? In terms of he knows that there's certain people he's got expectations around, right? In terms of he's been referred to, he's met, he's following up. So it's follow-up I want to talk to you about, right? Because the follow-up is often really easy not to do. And hand on heart, I'm no different to anybody else, right? So I think each of you, I've shown. So I'm just going to click on just show you one other thing, right? So you all know that I use the High Rise as my task manager, right? And I'm encouraging all of you to do the same. Most of my tasks are about follow-up, right? So in terms of just by way of example. So, and this is, I guess, what I was going to suggest this week when we're doing our little elevator is, who are you following up? Who have you got to follow up this week, right? So, by way of example, Peter White rang me about a global franchise for marijuana, medicinal marijuana, right? All about business. Evie, Anthony spoke to us about about
her accounting.
Yeah, that's right. Cheapers. Sorry, I'll just have to play with this. Anyway, but as I said, all of my follow-ups I put in High Rise. And I really encourage you guys to do the same, because otherwise it is so easy not to do it and to just sort of forget to do it, really, other than maybe when we chat. So let me just, swap this. It does my head in slightly when I have my things on the wrong screen. So apologies. So yeah, while I'm just tidying this up, if you could just give thought to, who do you need to follow up with this week? Okay, in terms of when we go through this.
Are you frozen?
Am I frozen? Yeah, no. Give me a second. Okay.
You were frozen.
I should be back now. All right. Sorry. And PowerPoint.
There you are.
Am I here now? All good?
Let's go.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yep.
All right. Good morning, Dify Social Media Marketers. I am your social media marketer from Footscray in Melbourne, where I've lived and played for more than a decade now. And my wins for the week, I'm gonna take Publer as a win for the week, Ben, in terms of speaking to Ben on a Friday and having a chat about Publer.
What?
That was a great win.
What?
So
that is so
only because
bad.
I haven't done homework. Okay, well, that's a joint. We can have joint wins, can't we? What I need to do is follow up interest from a number of those people that I've put in later, but let me just go with that all about business one, Anthony, because that's one that I think they said they were going to get back to us after Easter, and we still haven't heard from them, right? So That's that sort of classic example. If we don't follow them up, they probably just disappear. So this week, because they are an accounting, bookkeeping type business, I'd be very keen to speak to accounting and bookkeeping type businesses in Melbourne's West because they often have very similar type customers. Next is Adrian.
Thanks, Steve. I am a marketing graduate from VU, and I'm your Dify Social Media Marketer here in Footscray. We have lived, worked, and played for a few months now. My win for the week would be the one-to-one I had with Morris from my chapter. He expressed interest in joining our services in the next couple months. there's just a few things that he said he needs to get sorted first. So that's looks like it's likely to go ahead potentially. So that's something I'll have to follow up in the future. And I did get I did follow up as well on Friday with a referral from Naroshi, our newest member in our BNI, and that's not going to go ahead. That was actually a bad referral, but that's all right. She's potentially got more referrals coming my way, so hopefully those ones are a little bit better.
How did you feedback for that one, Adrian? So when it is not a great referral, what did you let Naroshi know?
Yeah, she followed up with me as well about it. So I just let her know it's not the best referral for us because they were wanting something completely different to what we offer.
Right. Cool.
Yeah. And what am I up to? I'm looking to work with copywriters as we are seeking to grow our chapter in BNI. And next up is Anthony.
Oh, sorry, Anthony.
Morning, everyone. I am your business majoring in marketing graduate from La Trobe University, and I'm your Dify social media marketer here in Epping, where I've lived, worked, and played for half a decade. My wins for the week is, putting out all those reports, and I feel like each time I do it, it just gets a little bit better, so that's good and a bit more efficient. And I'm going to be following up the Wild Amazon owner, which is a cafe in Hawthorne, and because I called her and emailed her our brochure, she was happy with that. And so I got another referral from Andrew Coyle about a asset and finance person whose name is Raf. So I'll follow him up. Yeah, and that's it. Up next is
who would you like to work with this week?
Oh, that's right. Well, with the Wild Amazon owner, the cafe.
cafe specialist.
Yeah, I like.
Hi
breakfast.
everyone. My name's Emily. I am your Dify social media marketer here in South Brisbane. I'm from New Jersey originally, and I'm currently studying my master's degree at Griffith. So I took last week off. It was lovely. I didn't have any specific business wins there because of that, but Hannah actually subbed in for my BNI, and she said she really liked it. So I'm actually going to follow up with the real estate agent in our chapter. He reached out to Hannah at the chapter meeting and said he had a referral for me. So I'm going to call him. I am looking to work with N4. We just lost our, not IT, but like he installs internet in buildings. So someone who does something similar to that would be great with them in our chapter.
Cool.
Oh, up next is Hannah. Sorry, man.
Good morning, everyone. I'm a marketing graduate from QT, and I'm your Dify social media marketer here in Brisbane. My win for the week or fortnight week was getting the education coordinator position. Also, I had something else. I had a great one-to-one with Ben and Anthony. It was good to sort of just have a one-to-one with us. It was quite enjoyable. And this week I am following up. I actually did already this morning before our meeting. Someone in my BNI gave me a referral for like a pet daycare salon, and before Easter we spoke, and she was going to contact me after Easter. So I followed her up this morning. And also another referral from someone else in my BNI was for a fabric store, and I went in and visited him, and he was going to look over some information. So I'll follow him up as well. And this week I would like to work with and for businesses, or specifically an architect. Emily's chapter had a really different array of people in it. So I thought having an architect was pretty cool.
Our architect is something else.
Yeah. So I thought that was different.
Yeah.
And next up we have Ben.
I was just going to say just before Ben, so just with a bit like not good referrals, really good to follow up with those people that have given you good referrals, right? Just to keep them in the loop, just let them know, hey, thanks for that referral. I followed them up today. We're hoping to speak this week. Just a little, it could be a text or it could be an email just to let them know. And just say it looks like a good referral, for instance, potentially, yeah?
There's also that new feature within BNI Connect where you can let them know
What happened with it?
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, that's true, Adrian. Yeah, see, that's something that's very new. So that's a great idea. Yeah, so that's probably the easiest way to let them know how it's tracking. Yeah?
Yeah.
Good one. Thanks.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ben. I'm your Dify social media marketer here in Wanneroo, Perth, where I've lived for the past 14 years. I'm your marketing, advertising, and PR graduate, currently studying applied digital marketing at ECU. My wins for the week. I'm taking Publer back, Steve. That was completely uncalled for, but I'm taking Publer back. And being given the education spot for this week was pretty neat. And having a one-to-one with Anthony and Hannah was definitely also a win for the week as well. I don't have any currently to follow up on. I might do some general follow-ups and see how people are going. Richard Brake is one which I might follow up for, see if he's got his website done.
You're still freely following up the Carpet Association, and that could well be a dream type, even though it's annoying, but it could well be a dream type. Actually, in fact, you know what I was thinking, Ben? With that one, just get your presentation ready, and that's what you could share with them.
True.
Yeah, that's what you could share rather than doing the audit and consult. You just go and share your presentation with them.
True. Well, I will. Yeah, we could. Well, there are many options to do. I might do a 15-minute consultation. I might do a smash and grab. We'll see how it goes on that one. So I'm also following up with the Carpet Cleaning Association, which is a dream, potentially turning into a bloody nightmare. Time. And then I'd really like to work with I'm still going to say tradies that love to take photos of their work, but don't have any time to post it on social media.
Good one. Cool. All right. Adrian asking.
Okay, who's following up? Okay, let's go Emily, who is Anthony following up with this week.
Is it the Amazon Cafe?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yes.
Okay, I'll do one more of those. Anthony, who is Hannah following up with this week?
I sneezed about 5 times during that whole thing. I really forgot.
It was unique business, quite unique.
Yeah, it was.
It was the pedicure,
yeah.
The dog thing, the dog daycare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right, you got there. Okay, and let's go.
Could you sound more condescending? You got there, well done.
You made it.
Oh dear, if Ben's starting to judge condescending and our nature over Zoom, I could be in trouble at times then too. And maybe we'll have to listen out for Ben and whether or not we feel like we may well be hearing anything. What did we say, Ben? What did you tell us that your just your voice makes you sound?
My voice naturally makes me sound like a condescending ass.
Right. So you did actually say that. So there you go.
Explain
but that makes it difficult then to know when you are being condescending.
People think I'm being aggressive all the time, and it's just the accent.
Okay, Ben. So that makes me want to ask you, who was Steve's win for the week? What was Steve's win for the week?
That's easy because he stole it off of mine. He stole my thunder. He's taking Publer.
Okay, and let's go with who haven't I done?
I'm technically not taking Publer. I'm taking
it's a general win.
I'm taking the shared benefit of being an agile business that, despite the Hootsuite shit business leaving us in the lurch, we've been able to collectively come up with an alternative.
I'm hearing a lot of excuses here. I'm hearing a lot of excuses here, Steve.
Okay, Ben, then who was Steve looking to connect with?
Steve looking to connect with?
Mm.
All right, you caught me.
I know.
Anyone else
Yeah,
can help
you
him
got
out?
me. No,
Bookkeeping and accounting.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
In Melbourne's west to Geelong.
Oh.
Yeah, no, so that was good. No, that was correct. Good answer. Yeah, and Anthony was trying to give you tips, Ben. He was sort of rubbing his fingers together.
Money.
Very good. All right. Do
Okay,
we want
time for
to?
stretch.
Yeah, let's take a snap. Anthony's been good at his snaps. And which one is? Oh, what's that doing? I'll just stop
Or do you
screen
want
share. There we go. I wanted to
everyone
actually.
gonna
I like maybe we could all do
like
this.
some money? I don't know. It's
Yeah,
Does
I
that
like
look?
that.
Yeah, maybe actually, if we
silly.
do it like that, then it more looks like it's Italian because it's like
yeah.
it's your cafe.
Does everyone have a coffee, maybe, or is everyone gonna have a coffee?
I wasn't planning on having a coffee.
I don't
Or
have
if
one
you got
on.
it,
Do you have a mug
don't have
then
one.
that we can lie?
Oh, you've already got your.
I've got a shot glass near me.
Close enough.
Shot glasses, yeah, right. So it's the earliest in Perth.
I know.
Maybe, as you said, okay, Anthony, well, we just take our break and we'll bring back a prop.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, we'll make
Change it
coffee
up.
and bring break. Sounds good. All right.
Easy.
Okay.
That sounds good. See ya.